Welcome to Hot Health, a program that brings you current information on a variety of health topics that may impact your life. Today, we have Dr. Ruth Stanheiser with special guest Dr. Joy Peterson, who will be presenting on the topic Bible foods and their impact on lives today, specifically in the area of figs, right here on Smarts Lifestyle TV, an LLBN network.
It's so nice to have you here, Dr. Peterson.
Yes, wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on to Hot Health. And I understand that you have a passion for certain foods. Can you give us a little bit of your background?
Well, I was born in the island of Trinidad and Tobago, and while I was growing up and reading my Bible, I would read about certain foods. And one of my dreams and goals as I started getting older and getting into the area of nutrition was to do some more research on some of those foods. And one of them was figs, because we know that in the Bible that Adam and Eve, after they sinned, they wrapped themselves with what? Fig leaves. And so I knew then that fig was in the Garden of Eden, and I wanted to start doing some research on that from a very young age.
My understanding is that you wanted to do research in food and be a dietitian from a very young age.
Yes, I did, because I had problems dealing with a lot of foods back home. I wanted to kind of eat fruits and vegetables. I didn't like meat, believe it or not. So I was very anemic. And I said, you know, when I get older, I want to learn a little bit more about how to really take care of my body and not be anemic. I was really anemic when I was younger. But as I got older and decided this is the profession I wanted to get into, to become a registered dietitian and to learn more about the foods of the Bible.
I understand your family gave you a little resistance when you were young.
Yes, they did, because they told me I would get cancer if I didn't eat meat, and that I would get very sick, and which I was a little bit weak sometimes. But now, as time has gone by, my family have seen that my health has been improved quite a bit, and that I've been able to have a lot of endurance. And believe it or not, I will be 70 years old coming up next year. And everybody says, how could you be 70 and still have all that energy? But I know it's really attributed to the diet that I have made changes.
So you're saying that when you were weak, when you were younger, wasn't because you weren't eating meat, it's because you didn't know how to eat the correct foods.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Right. I went to school and got educated at Loma Linda University, and with my master's and then my doctorate in public health. And while I was there doing my doctorate in public health, I decided that my dissertation would be on figs and its benefits to the body.
And I think you mentioned to me that this is the only research like this in the world.
Original research. So I, believe it or not, I'm cited a number of times. I get calls from different individuals on emails asking me more about my research. So it's, if you Google my name and figs, it will come up. And it has been now published in the Annals of Nutrition Metabolism. So I am really grateful to that.
Let's hear about the figs.
Yes. Well, you know, for those of you who like figs, because not everyone is really interested in figs, but while I was at the Drayson Center, I decided to do a quick survey on finding out how many people had high cholesterols. And believe it or not, a number of them, their cholesterols were way up. You know, one that is really bad, that's we consider the bad cholesterol. The LDLs were over 100. Some of them were close to 150. And their total cholesterols were close to 200 to 300. But they didn't want to take the statin, the drugs. So they were constantly exercising and doing everything that they could, but they would not get down, their cholesterols wouldn't lower. And so I asked them, would you be interested in taking a research on eating figs? That's all you need to do, is to eat 5 figs at each meal for about 3 to 5 weeks. And they were excited about it, so that's how our research began. And I used part of my, the funding came from the California Fig Board. So I contacted them, and then the study began. So we had a crossover study, and I have a few slides I wanted to share. Is it on? Okay. So the problem that we know about statins, like I shared before, is one that's individuals who are afraid to take them because of the side effects, but they really want to get their cholesterols down. So we were really focusing on those individuals. Now, with the background, as you see, some you have the study that's showing the cardiovascular problems that come up with people who have high cholesterols. The elevated low-density lipoproteins, the LDL, is the one that really can cause problems with the heart. And many people, of course, when they go to the doctor to take their total blood cholesterol levels, that total is one thing, but it's the LDL if it's a problem, if it's over 100. So that's definitely something that we want individuals to know. The National Cholesterol Education Program for adults, showed the treatment panel classification of the adults, so of the lipids. So there are ranges, but the higher range is the one that individuals feel there are problems. And of course, we don't want folks to get heart attacks, and that's one of the problems if it continues to be that difficult. Okay. Now, the background, what we found out, it was some individuals did not like figs, so they were not in the study. What we found about figs is that it has a certain type of fiber called beta-glucan. Beta-glucan, or soluble fiber. It's found in not only figs, but it's found in barley, and I brought some barley to talk a little bit after about what's our next research project. So the figs contain that beta-glucan that is very beneficial in helping. It has high fiber content, and it helps to pull out the bad cholesterol that's found in the intestines as you go through the pathway.
So that's called it's a type of water-soluble fiber.
Yes. And it's very beneficial in helping to lower your cholesterol, similar like oats. Complex carbohydrate, one of the things that we look at that's high in telling us about the fiber, the dietary and functional fiber. So fruits and vegetables we found are high in fiber, but there's specific things in the figs, as we said, that beta-glucan effect that helps to pull out that cholesterol more so than other foods. These are some studies that we have seen, and talking a little bit more about the background. Now, there are therapeutic lifestyle changes for the nutrient composition of total lipid concentration in the diet. As you see on here.
So there's the beta-glucan, the
right,
soluble
the beta-glucan
fiber.
and soluble fiber. So many types of dietary fiber, resembles the starches that we are explaining there, the polysaccharides that can help lower blood cholesterol. So now the Food and Drug Administration has permitted further health claims about our plant foods. So barley is another one that they are focusing on that we would like to, and I wanted to show a little bit about the barley foods that barley itself as a grain and how it can be incorporated into the diet. It's now beginning to come on the market. Now people are talking more about using barley in their daily meal plans. And I've been sharing how to prepare barley and rice, brown rice. So you kind of slowly introduce it into the diet without making the effect too, so strong on a different individual.
I think probably a lot of people have heard about barley and barley soup, but maybe no other way.
Right.
But my understanding is that barley was very common around the Mediterranean, and as I recall in the Bible, there was some barley loaves and fishes.
Fish, that's right.
And so this is a very common grain around the Mediterranean, at least in Jesus' time. Is that correct?
Yes, that was. And the barley loaves were made, they are kind of a little bit more dense and crunchy when you eat it. It's not that soft, fluffy biscuits that normally people like. It's a more of a crunchy,
More like
dense,
a cracker?
like a cracker, yeah, and has a very sweet flavor to it. So when you make the barley loaves, and so what I do, I try to introduce barley into the diet for individuals. I would tell them use your brown rice and mix it with the barley, half and half, 50%, and it boils within the same time as you do brown rice. And they do not really even know that it's in there because I try it out as just experimenting. So she said, oh, I ate barley. I said, yeah, you just ate barley and didn't even know it. So people are opening up to using the barley. Now, there are products that can be made also from the barley and also from the figs, that you can grind the figs and introduce them with nuts and roll them together and form an actual food that can be like a snack. So
that's what we have here?
Yes.
Is this fig?
Yes, figs with nuts rolled around
so
and
this
you
is
grind it.
a ground almond?
Right, yes, that's grounded over it, yeah.
So grounded almond, and I'm going to open this up. If I can,
yes,
I don't know.
It's tight, yes, a tight food is, yeah.
So that's fig in the middle.
Right.
And
you grind it up, flavor it, and then roll it with the nuts.
see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So very tasty. And also with the these are sticks that can be made, barley sticks with the flavor on those.
But these look purchased, so there are places where you can buy these.
Them. Yes, I didn't even make those. I bought them at the market. Yeah.
So this is a breadstick, like a cracker-ish.
Right, and it has the walnuts, grounded walnuts that's flavored over it. Yeah. Now, so we're going continuing on just to go back a little bit with the with the figs that there's some studies that are showing, and I didn't want to concentrate so much on a lot of the information on here because people can call in and get the research information. But we wanted to share the figs. There are different kinds of figs, so talk a little bit about that. This is the black mission figs that we have found has a higher beta-glucan content than the Calmurna. There's a Calmurna, kind of a light brown fig that is very, very sweet. And this one is not as sweet, but it's very tasty. And when you think of the word figs, you think of peace. People talk about figs, and figs, the flavor, of course, is very beneficial to the taste for individuals who like figs. Now, some people really don't like figs because of the grainy, nutty flavor of the seeds. There's hundreds of seeds in the middle of them, as you see the picture. So
on this slide that's being projected, it says that each serving provides about 1 gram.
Right, 1 gram per fig. So we're looking at 3 grams.
So you need at least three to get the benefit.
The benefit.
That's a serving, is
right.
3.
3 is a serving, and with the research we gave them 3 at 3 meals. So they ate it at each meal.
For breakfast they had 3, for lunch they had 3, for dinner they had 3, and this went on for
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yes, 5 to 6 weeks. It was a crossover study.
Oh.
So the same individual started off, one group started off with the figs, and 5 weeks later we crossed over. They stopped eating figs, and their blood samples. So we were taking their blood at the end of every 3 to 5 weeks.
So you were trying to determine how much cholesterol dropped. So the first group took the figs, and another group didn't have figs. And then they crossed over, and the group that didn't have figs ate figs, and the ones that did have figs didn't eat figs. Okay.
And then we started analyzing, and we took their blood samples. We also took blood pressure, and then we also checked on their diet, what they were eating outside of just taking the figs.
They could have been eating candy bars for every meal plus figs,
plus figs. But like we said, these were individuals who were very serious. We had over 100 participants in the study.
So these were people who knew they had high cholesterol, so they were motivated. So they weren't eating candy bars for every meal.
No. And they didn't want to take the statin drugs. They were just pretty much exercising a lot. And most of the information was shared at the Joycelyn Center, where we have many people coming in.
So they were working hard to lower their cholesterol, but they didn't know that they had another potential way of doing it.
Right. So, And so we were very excited to see some of the results. Let's move on a little bit. That's our design. We just talked about the design, crossover. And so it took about 3 months to get through with the study.
I'm excited about what are the results?
Yes. Well, our results showed, that's a criteria comparison I was showing about the figs. Our results showed that manually when we looked at the information, the figs, those who ate figs, the cholesterols went down. But they were not as significant because we found one of the other factors that we did not include was for outside eating, during the... So what we found is that those who went on the figs, as soon as they got on the figs, they said, oh, the figs are going to do the work, so they ate whatever they wanted.
So they did eat candy bars.
Yes,
I get it. Okay.
So they ate other foods because we had mentioned there was no change of diet. They can do whatever they wanted. And then it was done during the fall. We had 2 research projects. One was in the spring as a pilot study because it was so new, no one ever thought that it would make any difference. And in the spring, the group we worked in the spring, the cholesterol was significantly dropped. But some information, we said, let's do the study again just to make sure. It was done in the fall and the winter, December and January, where people eat a lot of comfort foods. And so in doing so, once they knew that the figs are going to take care of all these other things that I'd like to eat.
So it's not magic.
Right. And
it's helpful, but not magic.
So the cholesterols did not go down significantly. They dropped, but not significantly, as it had done in the pilot study.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that figs are a part of a good diet, and they can lower cholesterol with a good diet.
Yes. And we had some side things that occurred. People who had irritable bowel syndrome issues, it all went away by being on the figs because they were getting so much soluble fiber, and with the bile acids, it was really helping quite a bit on that. But the blood pressures also, people's blood pressure stayed pretty much normal and went down because the figs has high potassium, which helps with blood pressure, calcium, high calcium intake, and...
So you consider that figs are a good source of calcium?
Calcium, yes.
Because I have a lot of people asking me, what are good sources of calcium in food?
Right.
That when you're not eating meat.
Right. So if they eat a serving of figs, maybe 5, we found now 5 figs can almost give them the same amount of calcium as in a glass of milk.
Oh,
yeah.
So a glass of milk, 5 figs.
So we have found that to be beneficial.
And that's calcium that's well absorbed?
Well absorbed, yes. So it's a high calcium source. So there's a lot of nutrition in our figs in comparison, as you see on the screen there. So we are, one of the issues is that not everybody likes figs. But do you know in Japan, there is a fig store around almost every corner that you can think of. And the Japanese eat figs as we eat candy. They take them in bags and eat them, especially the mission figs. So back in the early 1900s, fig was used, figs were used for a lot of different ailments. And people who had problems, even babies, for colic, they would blend the figs and give to the babies, and it would reduce colic. So figs, I went into the archives of the California Fig Board and found all of this information. And one of the questions or concerns they had was, could it really lower cholesterol? Because we know it's very good for constipation, and the calcium is high, potassium is high, and they just wanted to find that out. So there was quite a bit of money involved with this research project because of the blood samples and all of the figs that were given. So now we are excited about figs and the benefit. The fiber intake is high. The next food that I'm interested in working with Johns Hopkins University is on barley, looking at barley as a means of, for diabetics, because barley itself has a lower glycemic index when people are taking it into their body, and of course the fiber is high.
So you're wanting to look at foods that aren't used traditionally in the American diet.
That's right, yeah.
And trying to find ways for that people will find it acceptable.
Right.
Because they try it.
Yes.
And learn how to cook it.
How to prepare.
And it is beneficial for their health. Now, do you have any, have you already started this research with the barley?
With the barley, I have made some contact with the barley board. That's one thing you have to contact the boards, because we found in America, you just can't start research and information on that, and they are willing to help me start giving out samples. With figs, I used to just give out samples wherever I would go. They would call me the fig lady for a long time because I used the figs to help. Now, figs are also very beneficial for your skin, believe it or not.
In what way? Putting it on the skin?
Yes, you're using the figs as like a poultice, but for a facial. You can use a facial. And many of our products that we have for our face has figs in it. We found that out. And people don't even know it, that figs are being used for longevity for your skin. Figs are very
Dr.
good.
Winston Craig, who has been a presenter for Hot Health, mentioned that King Hezekiah used a fig poultice.
Poultice, right, and to actually pull that inflammation out from the boils that he had. So figs can be beneficial, more so like a medicinal food. It can be used, but it's not a claim all, you know. One of my concerns is that when the spies went to look at the Canaan and the Promised Land, they came back with 3 foods. And as I'm closing, thinking of it, one was the pomegranate, grapes in huge, and what was the other one? Figs. So when I started looking at these other foods, the pomegranate is now well known in America. Grapes, we know, very much are helpful in lowering cholesterol and other features, but no one knows about the figs and the great benefits. So that has been my dream, to see that come true. Now, Kraft Nabisco has spoken to me. We were able to get a lot of money to run this research, and we're looking to get back to talk to them again about looking at figs to probably use it to make it into a fig nectar, because you know the fig Newton is only 25% fig. The rest is sugar.
Yeah.
75% of it is not as healthy.
So they're looking to maybe use more of the health benefit by using more fig.
More fig, and so a fig Newton can be changed. We're looking at making different recipes, and also to look at figs as a nectar so that people can drink that. Constipation, it would be big, but it'll have a lot of other great benefits with using the figs. And then, of course, as a municipal, they have figs that are used to put on a scrub, fig scrub. That was out for a while, and then it got off the market. So one of my passions is to get figs into America so people can really
So more people are using figs in their diet.
Yes, so I'm happy to be here to share that, and knowing that barley is another good food. So I have a slide, a program that I put together, the foods that are in the Bible that we want to share, because Bible foods have not been known, and it's another way of sharing what God has done for us as individuals and as people to help to make us healthy. He has those foods there, and we forget about them, but we need to go back and enjoy them. So eat your figs, those of you. It's beneficial. You slice it, you can steam it, you can eat it fresh. Now you can open it up and put some almonds in there, so you can crunch on it with the almond when you open up the fig.
So there may be people, we see, these are pictures of fresh figs on the screen, but maybe some people have never seen what a fig looks like. Yes. This is a dried fig, and it's got the many little tiny seeds inside, and those little seeds contain a lot of the fiber.
Right, and very beneficial.
They're the beneficial. Now, I'm going to ask you another question here. We're getting near to the end. Yeah. Do you have the recipe in your head of how you would prepare a mixture of rice and barley?
Yes, because what we look at is we look at 2 2 cups of, a cup of rice and a cup of barley in 3 cups of boiling water.
So 1 cup of brown rice.
Right.
This isn't white rice.
Right, brown rice.
Brown
and
rice.
And a half a cup of barley.
So 1 cup of brown rice, a half a cup of barley in
3 cups of
3
boiling
cups
water.
of boiling water. And how long does that cook then?
And it cooks for 20 minutes, and do not add any salt. Salt slows down the cooking process of the grain. You turn your stove very low so the water just absorbs into the grain.
So you have the water boiling, you
Right.
add the 1 cup and the half
a
cup,
cup.
then you turn the very low and cover it.
And cover it with a nice solid cover, and turn it down to almost hardly finishing, and it will cook. I do it in cooking classes, and people clock me all the time. 20 minutes, it will boil, and it comes out very soft, but grainy, because most people don't like sticky rice. The stickiness comes from stirring, because we break the kernels, and then the starch seeps out into the water. So just leave it alone, turn it down, and come back, and it will all get right filled, and the water absorbs into the rice.
And when you're doing
and
these
the grain.
cooking classes and you have people that have been eating white rice, what do they think of the brown rice?
They love it because it has a nice nutty flavor, and no salt, no sodium. And they say, you didn't put salt? No salt in the rice. So it's very beneficial to leave it like that, and then you add your other vegetables and so forth. So I want people to enjoy the grains.
So you come from a Caribbean country.
Yes.
And when I have been in the Caribbean, it was white rice
Yes.
with beans. So you have a lot of people, and they don't think they want to try brown rice.
Right.
But you're saying that you had success
Yes, I have success with people with brown rice, because we're looking now at a different time. People are all looking at the internet, reading about the benefits of brown rice.
And what's the benefit of brown rice?
The benefit is it's better for you. One, it has fiber content. It keeps you full longer than white rice, and it actually has also protein in there. So people who are worrying about not getting enough, you use brown rice instead of white rice, and you end up having a much better effect, and the foods do taste better. The nutty, grainy taste you feel is a lot better than just souping down. The white rice you just swallow, you don't chew. So it's...
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, I know it's been a real exciting time, and I hope people enjoy their figs, but also enjoy the taste of barley with brown rice.
I want to thank Dr. Ruth Stanheiser and Dr. Joy Peterson for just sharing with us the benefits of figs. You know, it's one thing to know that a vegetable or a fruit can help you, but it's even more important to know how and why it helps you. And so I just really took away the fact that figs has calcium and potassium that can help you, and the fact that you can even use it for skincare. It's so amazing to see that a fruit can be timeless. We see that it was discussed in the Bible times, and now with science and technology, we can see the benefits of why God gave us this fruit as a gift. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode and that you continue to tune in. And for more information, visit our website at www.smartlifestyletv.com.